Alright, so yeah, it's time to start putting the rocker arms and stuff in. So you're only gonna put like half of it in first because you need, I believe it is the exhaust valve or the exhaust rocker needs to be off to put the injectors in, and then you can put the exhaust rocker back in. Yeah, because little T goes this way, and that's where the rocker would come. So the exhaust rocker's in the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pedestals in, and then I'm going to put the intake rocker arms in. Then I need to put the injectors in. And then I can put the exhaust side in, the exhaust rockers in. So that's what we're going to do first. I got to put the little bridges on the valves. I got 6.7 liter rocker arms because they're a little bit, obviously they're a little updated. I think the trunnion is a little different that the rocker arm pivots on, and the little the contact tip that pushes down on the bridge is a little different. It doesn't have the little plastic retainers. It's I think it's like, well, it's not, I think it's two pieces, but it doesn't have the plastic retainers like the earlier 5.9 ones do. So those are what I'm going to go with. I think they have a little bit better oiling because of the updated trunnion, so they don't gall as much. But at this point in time, I'm not really using heavier valve springs, so I don't know if that's so much of an issue. But I figured I had to get some extra parts and stuff, so I got the 6.7 rocker arms. I got new injectors. I got the Big Bang injection stage 0.1. It's supposed to be 4% over stock, so I think they just do that so they can balance them. They seem to be an alright deal. I mean, they didn't have their new injectors. There was no core on them, and I guess they worked for Bosch in research and development, and then they went off and started their own company, is what their promotion is of the company. They came from Austria, I believe, and it only took about 4 days for me to get them here in Massachusetts. So I mean, that's pretty good shipping from there. So I say I have everything cleaned up. I'm going to use some assembly lube on the rocker arms and stuff, and then we're going to put them in. I believe, I won't say I believe, I will go and get the torque spec for you for the rocker arms. They are 27 foot-pounds for the rocker arm bolts. Yep, so we're going to put the pedestals in, put the intake rockers in, and then I gotta get the injectors, put the injectors in, seat them all where it's supposed to be, then we can do the intake rocker or the exhaust rocker. So the little bump, nipple, whatever you want to call it, little raised section, that goes towards the exhaust side. So he's got a little notch in them. I'm pretty sure the notch goes towards, yeah, they can only, well, yeah, so got a little groove right there. That goes where the hole is, just behind the well, it's just back, so the front hole back, you'll see the hole there. So this little notch goes forward towards the exhaust side or the injector. So these are the 6.7 ones. They got that one retainer there. The 5.9 ones have this little plastic clip, a retainer on them. So yeah. So what I'm doing is, there's a little hole in here. I pump some oil in there to get oil inside this little retainer clip thing there, whatever it is, because there's an oil passage in there, and then it lubricates the tip there through a hole. So I wanted to prime that by pumping some oil through, and then I'll put this assembly lube all over these trunnions. There's one. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get them all in place, and I'm not going to torque it down because this pedestal can move if I torque it down now. So I'm going to get them all in place, then I'll do the injectors, and I'll torque them all at the same time. That way I don't have to worry about it twisting and not being able to get the other one in later. So that's what I'm going to do with the rest of these. procedure for putting the injector in. I'm going to make sure one, the bore is clean on both sides for the crossover tube and the injector tube. I'm going to oil your O-ring. I put a little bit of oil on the crush gasket here so it doesn't fall off when I'm putting it in. So you make sure you got your little hole where the crossover tube comes in, facing towards the crossover tube when you put it in. Slide it down in there, like so. We'll push and it's down. Take your little injector bolts, put those in. This hold down shoe thing is kind of like a seesaw, so you want to kind of even them up as you go down. And you're going to tighten this to 44 inch-pounds. So 44 inch-pounds, and you're going to back them off so that they're loose. You're doing this so it sets the injector in place and it's straight in there. Then you're going to take the crossover tube, and you want to use new crossover tubes and preferably not aftermarket ones. I guess you could if you had to. And make sure there's no burrs or anything on your tip here. Then you're going to set it with the low ball bearings up. Make sure you lubricate your O-ring. And we'll come in the side. Check that. Come in the hole in the side. Move it a little bit till the ball bearings are kind of seated. Push it in. Check your big nut here for the crossover tube. And we're going to torque that to 11 foot-pounds. Once that's torqued to 11 foot-pounds, we're going to torque these to 89 inch-pounds.
Mm-hmm.
These are 8mm, and these nuts here are, well, I'm using a 15/16, but I think you can get them in a metric size as well, obviously. They're probably metric, but I'm using a 15/16, it fits fine. So, and you do a final torque of 44 foot-pounds. I believe the stock torque on that is 37, but I hear that loosens up and everybody says use 44. So that's how you put the injector in. So these the harness nuts get torqued to 11 inch-pounds, which is not very tight at all, so just kind of snug them up. Don't really torque them down hard or you might break them. And then yeah, so we'll put those on, then we gotta put the rockers on. If I had to do it again, I probably wouldn't put the exhaust rocker on. I would probably put the injectors in first and then start putting the rockers on, because they weren't really in the way, but it just wasn't necessary to do it in that order. So anyway, that's how you do that. So I'm going to finish putting the rest of the rocker arms in, and then we got to set the valve lash. Intake valve is 10 thousandths, I believe, and exhaust valve is 20 thousandths, or 26 thousandths if you want to go by Dodge's spec, but Cummins specs 20 thousandths. So, yep, so keep moving along. Alright, so I got all the rockers in. They're all torqued to 27 foot-pounds. So I'm going to set the valve lash on all of them. I'm going to set it to 10 thousandths on the intake and 20 thousandths on the exhaust. And then afterwards you want to torque the lock nut to 18 foot-pounds. So you want to go until turn it over until it's at top dead center and there's no the two front rockers on cylinder 1 are loose. If they're not loose, then you're on the top dead center on 6 instead of number 1. So basically for this demonstration, I have it set so number 1 is top dead center, both rockers are loose, and I'm going to adjust 1, 2, and 4 intake rocker arms and 1, 3, and 5 exhaust rocker arms. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to do the intake, and then I'm going to do the exhaust on those. So that's 1, 2, 4 on intake, 1, 3, 5 on exhaust. Then I will rotate the engine 1 revolution, and then I will set 3, 5, and 6 on the exhaust. I will set 3, 5, and 6 on the intake and 2, 4, and 6 on the exhaust. So that's what we're doing. I believe it's a 5mm Allen wrench for the adjuster and a 14mm for the nut, the lock nut. So that's what we're gonna do.